Hey, badass business owners, welcome back to the show. Today, I want to share a story of a small business owner who decided to grow and expand their business into another state, thinking that because they had family there, it was actually going to work out well. And what I want to do is I want to be able to show kind of a series of events that have occurred and some lessons that I think everybody can learn from. We all dream of growing and expanding our business. And I'm one of those people that you've heard me talk about that 5-mile radius and getting really good at your 5 to 10 miles around your home base before you expand. Sometimes we have this great idea that comes across and we want to jump on it. And we think, you know what? This is an amazing opportunity. I need to take advantage of it because I think that I can do some amazing things with it in my business. And while sometimes that, in theory, yes, it is correct. However, it also can be a pain because you have to understand that when you expand, especially with other teams, you are transferring your personal guarantee to those customers that they're going to get the same experience they do with the original part of your business. The problem is you're not there day by day to help ensure that it happens. And that's kind of what happened with this particular business owner. You see, this business owner has a very successful business in California and is doing really well. They happen to have family that live here in Arizona. So they thought, why not use my family to do the job and I'll just oversee them from over here. It's a 4-6 hour drive. I can get over to Arizona if there's any kind of emergencies. Well, here's where the wheels started to fall off. In the very beginning, these people were not as trained as he was in his business. So they were doing the best that they could. Most of the customers they were picking up were aware of the transition, so they were more likely to say, no problem, they're going to be on a learning curve, and you're going to have this supervision over them, so things are going to get better. But unfortunately, because of the type of business that he has being a pool service business, Arizona goes crazy the minute it gets hot enough for the pools to start being able to be swam in. It really has to do with our overnight temperatures. Well, when the sun comes out and it's over 100 degrees, it eats the chlorine. We have these dust storms that come through during the summer months with our monsoons, and pools get really icky in a matter of minutes. Like they literally can clean it 1 minute and then it's disgustingly dirty the next. It also does havoc on your filter systems, your vacuums, and everything else because of all the garbage that ends up in the pool. So pools in general are wonderful here in Arizona during the summer months, but they also are a pain in the keister to do. Well, if you have a team of people and you're not the one that's in it, well, guess what? They're not going to know how to react to do it. And being that the business owner is from California, he also does not know about this weird weather stuff that goes on in Arizona. If you think about it, part of how we get better at our business is we go through seasons and we learn our lessons and we go, that's not going to happen next year. Next year, I'm going to do this. Well, here he is trying to learn a new market, learn the quirks of the new market, and yet he's not living in that market. So he's not aware of when there are dust storms and when there are things happening in order to dispatch his team to do certain things that probably need to get done. So what's happened is the quality of the work has gone down. The employees feel like they're running around, and the original set of employees that were doing the work, guess what? They're no longer the ones that show up. I'm going to use my home specifically as an example. Originally, when we set this up, it was supposed to be done on Tuesdays. Well, the only request that we had is you can come anytime on Tuesday, but just text us so we can keep the dogs inside the house. Because obviously we have a new puppy and we don't want the puppy to run out the gate and get out into the streets. And plus my little dogs, while they will not hurt anybody, they are a nuisance and the pain and they will not stop barking. And even though the pool has a fence around it, you have to go through it to be able to get to the pool equipment. Well, unfortunately, we've never gotten that one down. So it's become very irritating just to start with because a simple request cannot be met. Now, being a business coach, I'm probably the most likely to give somebody some slack while they build their team. No issue. Well, a bunch of different little things. So I'm going to kind of go off on a couple little tangents. So bear with me here. So Tuesday soon became Monday. We noticed that every Monday they were showing up and I'm like, oh, I guess it's not a Tuesday appointment. It's now a Monday appointment. And that's what it's become. Showing up on Mondays, still no text messages, just walk through the gate. Now, thank God they've never let the dog out. And the dog is a wimp anyways and runs inside if he hears anything. So we're able to get past that part. Well, one day, then all of a sudden Monday wasn't showing up. So it's like, oh, I guess we're back to Tuesday. So next thing you know, they're showing up on Wednesdays. I text the guy and I'm like, is our day Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday? Because it seems like we're kind of bouncing around. Oh, no, you're supposed to be on Tuesdays. And I'm like, look, I don't care when they show up. Just give me a day. And once again, we still need to be able to get the text messages, especially because if we're going to leave the house and there's no one there to help ensure that the dogs are in. Once again, that didn't work. And then one week, a couple weeks ago, I don't even think they showed up until Saturday. On Thursday, I reached out going, is the pool people going to show up? And he's like, oh, they went on vacation. So the pool people up and went on vacation. No one gave any notice. Pools, by the way, were disgusting because of all the winds and the storms that we had. So no notice. Now, mind you, the quality of the work, I'll back up, has also gone downhill. Doing a pool is actually pretty easy here because you got to make sure the chemicals are right. You've got to sweep down the sides of the pool, get the dirt, any dirt that's in there, and then make sure that the equipment is functioning correctly. And the equipment is functioning correctly. Well, they were already slipping on that because they literally will come out and we had this whole battle when it came to our chlorine. The son eats chlorine. Well, I have a duct that I put the chlorine in. So you basically shock the pool once a week and then you put the chlorine in the duct to help it go. Well, these guys kept insisting on putting the chlorine into the filter. Well, when you put it into the filter, it's gone in a matter of days just because of all the water flushing through it as well as the heat that's eating at it. So I constantly had to keep putting it in the duct. Every week I would ask, put it in the duct, not in the filter. And every week they would put it in the filter and not in the duct. And I'm like, okay, we have a broken down system where you are not communicating to them what I'm saying because they're just not doing it right. So that was another thing that he and I talked about. Then it was my pool equipment, because if my filter is dirty in any way, shape, or form, my vacuum will not work. And that was a big criteria when I hired him because I have a DE system. Now, I'm not trying to bore you with my story because I can tell you I have a friend who also uses them and is having very similar problems. The reason that, and I could go on and on, what I'm trying to say is this person has been trying to run their business from afar, and they don't know where their people are. They don't know what they're doing. Their people aren't doing any, if there is a communication problem, I don't know if it's from the head guy down to the employees or the employees just not listening and doing whatever they want to do. Now, my suspicion is part of it is they just don't want to do what he says because, once again, they're family. And working with family is very difficult because they just don't want to do it. And I don't know how much they were engaged with wanting to build this business or being part of this business, or if they were coerced into being part of this business. I don't know the dynamics, but here's the problem. This gentleman has really stepped his toe into wanting to build the business here. And I think it's a wonderful market to do it. You can't beat opening a pool business in Arizona. And my purpose here is not to throw him under the bus. Please know that, because I really like the guy and I really hope that things turn around for him. But here's the problem. If something doesn't dramatically change, he's going to continue to fight this because he needs a serious crew leader that can help run the business for him here, because he can't run out here every single time. He did in the very beginning, and now he can't because he has the other business. By the way, I think that's part of why the wheels fell off, is he's running his business in California, which is also now in pool season. So he can't just get away like he could during the winter months when he was starting this business up. My purpose of our episode today is to say that you have to really think things through, because if you think about it, there's a couple lessons that we can get from this gentleman and what it is. One, he expanded without having the right resources in place, the right training in place, and the right knowledge base that he needed to have in that local community. So it ended up hurting him. Because if you think about it, what are the customers feeling that were willing to give him a shot? I know from my point of view, it's like I felt that I was led to believe I was going to have a certain level of service, and that is so not what has shown up. And by the way, I have to listen to my family gripe all the time about what they did and they didn't do. And meanwhile, me, the coach, is like, come on, we can do this better. Just tweak this, just do that. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic. I know when I talk to the owner, you can imagine the frustration he feels where he's at, because he knows it's his name on the line. And I can just feel the frustration every time I talk to him, because he doesn't want to throw his team under the bus. But yet at the same time, he's been very honest about what's going on. And I can imagine his frustration with what's happening. And I'll be shocked if something major doesn't change, if they don't have a different plan for the new year. Think about his reputation, because now there's people probably online saying what they're saying, or even if he wants to expand and he gets it better, now what's going to happen is people are going to hear, hey, have you heard about X and X pool company? What would you say about it? And then they're going to turn around and give their honest feedback, and that's not going to help him out. So he's really damaged his reputation with the existing clients that he has. At the end of the day, is it going to impact his profits and his sales? The answer is yes. I think part of it, he's probably held on to most. If I'm a betting person, I'm going to say he probably held on to most of his people. Finding a pool person in a pool company on a regular weekly basis during the summer is extremely difficult. So I have a feeling most people stuck with him only because it was going to be more difficult to replace him. However, during the slower months, I have a feeling he's going to have a mass exodus that's going to happen overnight, just because most people aren't going to want to go through another season of this. So it's going to be interesting to see what does happen with the business as the cooler weather starts to roll in a few months. But for now, I think I hope in his head he understands that he's just buying time, that most people just aren't jumping ship just because of the particular situation we have with pool people here in our community. There just isn't anybody that can take over, even if they wanted to. The big thing that I hope that he sits back is ask himself, what could he have done differently? Not only when he went into the market, in case he decides to expand into other areas, what could he do differently? Have a plan for those things. But two, I think he really needs to start coming up with his plan is not only to stay on top of this season, but what's he going to do during the slower season to be able to help train his guys and get them up to a certain speed, and possibly clean house with some of the employees. And I'm starting to notice that there's different people showing up. So I don't know if they split it up into different crews or if he's completely changed the crew that he was getting. And let's face it, cleaning pools is not necessarily the hardest job out there, but what is hard is it's 100 to 115 most of the time. And I have a feeling that when the family signed up, they were not thinking about being out in that sun for 4 to 6 hours a day, 5-6 days a week. And I'm sure that took its toll, and there became this tipping point of, well, we don't want to do this because this is ridiculous. And that would do it to somebody. It's no different than our landscapers or anyone else who has a job that's outside. As you can see, my main mission here is to use his story and what happened and what is happening to help you step back and think about your business and what you have going on. And if you have ideas and thoughts of expanding your business or going into new markets, even if it's just around the corner, really step back and ask yourself, could something similar happen to you? Have you thought through all of the different things that could possibly happen? At the end of the day, what you have been building all along cannot take a massive hit like this particular one, because it does end up impacting the business's profits as well as its reputation, what the customers think, and everything else. Always expand slowly, with purpose, with understanding, and having a plan, and making sure that you have the time and resources to be able to help guide through those hiccups that are going to happen. It's not going to be smooth. There's going to be hiccups. There's going to be problems, but you have to be able to say, I can pivot and I can work on those things and not let the wheels fall off to the point where I'm having to push the car in order to get it done. And that's what's going to end up happening. I'm going to make a bet that before the end of the season, he's either going to have to send out one of his crew members from California to be out here full time to help run it, or he is going to be spending a lot of time out here just to be able to get through the end of the season. I'm a betting person. I'm going to think that that's what's going to end up happening. I really like the guy. I really want him to succeed. Like I said, it's probably why I do more coaching on it than and I have to take when I get frustrated to try to say, okay, look, this is me, the customer, being frustrated, and here's me as a coach trying to say, this is what you might want to look at doing, or here's what might have happened, kind of a situation. Good guy. Really hope that it works out for him. Just like I really hope it works out for you as you go and expand your business. So hopefully you found this is a little different kind of episode. Normally I don't sit here and share these kinds of stories, but if you guys like them, I can turn around and share more of them. I hear stories all the time, obviously, through my coaching stuff, but I just wanted to make sure that I shared this one and learn the lessons from it. And I will talk to you on the next episode. Bye for now.